let's go back to Kenny. Kenny, what did you think of the philosophy of bringing Snowy into the locker room, trying to get those guys fired up?
I would bring in Fat Bastard is who I would bring in. See, I got Fat Bastard from the Austin Powers movies. That's who I would bring. He talks too. You ready? See if you can hear this. Here we go. Ready?
I got a crap on deck that should choke a donkey.
Okay, that's one thing that he says.
Yes, sir.
I bring in Fat Bastard and see.
Taco had broken egg.
He vibrates too.
I'll tell you what, I bet Fat Bastard could block better than an offensive line can.
You know what? These are the size of linemen that the Browns need, about the size of Fat Bastard from Austin Powers and everything. So I'd counter Snowy with Fat Bastard right here and see if the Browns would react maybe to the sumo wrestler looking dude.
I'll take Fat Bastard any day.
Hey, I want to get into real topics here in a second. Who's on Skype 1?
I got a crap on deck that should choke a donkey.
Browns backers down in Cincy.
Richard Miller from the Cincinnati Browns backers. Let's go to Skype 1. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Great. Hey, thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Where
Pleased
are
to be
you
here.
at? Are you at a library right now at work? Where are you?
I'm actually in my office at the University of Cincinnati.
Oh, that's awesome. Very, very nice. Tell us a little bit.
9 o'clock class today.
So what? Oh, we got to get you moving here. Oh no, you
Oh,
got plenty of time.
no, we've got plenty of time.
So wait, is it true if you're 10 minutes late and you don't make it in there, the kids can leave?
That's what they think, but the bottom line is class starts when the professor shows up, so that's how it works. So,
Tell me about your Browns backers group. Where do you guys get together? How many folks are in that group?
well, we've got almost 200 members. We get together at the Lucky Dog Grill, which is at 42 and Tylersville. The owner, James, we've been there for a long time, and he treats us really well. And, even with the team having a tough year, if you don't get there early, you're not going to find a seat. So we fill the place up.
So are you originally from Cleveland? Are you a longtime Browns fan? Give me your love for the Browns.
I grew up on the west side and then lived in Parma, went to Cleveland State, and then journeyed off to Northwestern, and then ended up here because that's where the job is.
Richard, let's go through some of the questions that I think Browns fans are talking about this morning. All right, first of all, if Josh McCown is healthy next week, should he start or should Johnny Manziel start against the Steelers?
Oh, I think that you start McCown. I think Johnny looked good last week, but he needs some more time. Also, too, I think the offense is kind of built around McCown, and sometimes you got to play in that direction. Also, I think the mistake we made last year was Patton wouldn't come out and say, Hoyer's my guy, and every time Hoyer heard those footsteps, he had a bad game. I think what the Bengals have done that the Browns have not is they made a decision years ago. They're sticking with what they got. And, good or bad, Andy Dalton starts. And we've seen the effect of, changing our mind every other week, for the last 16 years.
What was the general feeling? Was the feeling to play Manziel moving forward from your group, or is this just yours on your own? What was the feeling?
I think it goes both ways. I think that there are people in our group that really like Johnny Manziel and people that really don't. It's like, Browns fans all over the place. Until somebody steps on the field and wins consistently, there's going to be do this, do that.
I don't know. I think it'd be tough living in Cincinnati right now, especially. The Bengals are, as a Browns fan, I think it would be tough down there right now. So I give you a lot of credit for sticking it out. Any other thoughts on the Browns before we let you go?
Just looking forward to a game in Pittsburgh, and I hope that what the Browns do is they quit changing things every other week. And, I'm not a great Patton fan, but, I think if we change coaches again this year, we're just going to be 3-13 again next year. So they need to do what some other teams have done and pick a way and just keep going that way and quit changing things all the time.
Outstanding, Richard. One more time, folks want to get a hold of you, want to go hang out with you guys to watch the Browns game.
We are at the Lucky Dog Grill. It is at the corner of 42 and Tylersville in Mason, Ohio.
All right, Richard, thank you very much. I hope those students are on time this morning. Hey, what do you teach, by the way?
I teach structural engineering, and this morning's 9 o'clock class is the exciting subject of reinforced concrete design.
Oh, very nice.
That's what we need to do, build a wall against D'Angelo Williams.
We're going to have to.
Well, we can help you with that. We've got some super concrete that'll do the job.
Very
Okay.
nice. Richard, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. 216-431-3820 if you want to hop on in on the phone lines. I do have one phone line open right now if you want to call in. We'll get to the phones at some point, and Skype has been on fire this morning. What were you going to say there, Eric, the referee? Nothing?
I was thanking our guests for coming on.
Oh, that was nice of you. I saw you peek your head over. All right, let's bring Kenny back in here for a second. Kenny, as we move forward, what are you looking forward to on this team for the rest of the season? What do you want to see?
All the young guys play. They're out of the playoffs. They're terrible. So you need to evaluate the young guys, give them playing time, see what they can do. I think Josh McCown is going to start if he's healthy, but I'd want to see Johnny Manziel for a 4 or 5 game stretch to give him the reps in practice each and every week with the ones, to let him play an entire game, not looking over his shoulder, wondering if he's going to come out or if he's going to get pulled in the middle of the game or after 2 games. You got to let these young guys play and see what you have. The last 2 drafts have not been good for Ray Farmer and the Cleveland Browns, so you need to evaluate those young guys, even though they've played poorly to this point, as to A, do you have any cornerstone players? B, do you have any starters out of that group? C, do you have any backups out of that group? Or D, which ones you want to get rid of? And so I'm playing all the young guys. I'm throwing, you play to win, obviously. Hello, you play to win the game, but in the Browns' case, that isn't the case each and every year. They're 2-7. They're spiraling downwards. It's chaos in Cleveland. Ray Farmer's horrible. Mike Pettine's questionable. They've been outscored 55-3 the last 3 games in the second half. That's when you make halftime adjustments at halftime, and it doesn't look like Mike Pettin, Jim O'Neill, Chris Tabor, or anybody flip or making any adjustments. So play the young guys and see what you have for next year.
Pierre, why does this keep happening to the Browns in the second half? Why does it seem like they're getting outcoached in the second half every week now?
I don't think they go through any type of situational football.
All right, so just walk me through. What happens in the Patriots locker room at halftime?
At halftime, we all get together, defense get together, offense get together, special team guys, if there's something wrong with the special team coach, and we go through the different things that happen out there in the first half. Big plays or plays over 10 yards, P and 10, meaning the start of a series or whatever. And then we'll all come together as a team, and Bill will say what he has to say, and which is not much. He'll be like, hey, we got to go out here and play as a team, put the team first, believe in one another, and let's go get this win.
But let's just say from a defensive standpoint where you know you're not attacking a quarterback enough. I mean, is it said we are going to blitz more often in the second half, or we're going to back off in the secondary, or we're going to do this or that? Is that actually said, or is that just implemented as the game goes out?
That's definitely said.
Okay.
Bill will be like, hey, let's go get this quarterback. Let's go. We got to rush. We need more pass rush. If you don't do it, I'll get somebody else that will do it. And that's just the way it goes, the next man up, like Kenny
So what do
said.
you think's happening in the Browns locker room at halftime? I'm serious. Go ahead. Silence. Nothing.
That's it, nothing.
No one's saying anything at halftime.
I
So
think we
question
got-
for you, Pierre. How much onus do you put on the coaches for the halftime adjustments? Is
All of it. All
all
of it
coaching?
goes on the coaches and the halftime adjustments. Because in the first half, you got guys up in the booth. You have the coaches on the field. They see everything. They even got those the iPads and everything.
Right.
So you got to make some type of adjustments going into the second half. Like, this is what we need to do. We got to execute. If we don't execute, then we're in a lot of trouble. We have to execute. Like he's telling Johnny to stay in the pocket. That's not Johnny's game. I'm off top. I'm saying it. He can't see over the line.
But can you win? And let me bring Kenny back in on this too. This is like a philosophical struggle for Johnny Manziel. We all see it. You talk about it every week. I agree with you. I don't think he's tall enough to see over the line. He has got to bootleg out, right,
That's
or do
his
something
game.
to help him find the lanes. And we all see it. But every time, like I talked to Boomer Esiason last week. Phil Simms said it during the broadcast. You're not going. They both thought that you go back to McCown next week, and they
Exactly.
don't believe that you can win in the NFL with a scrambling quarterback.
You can't. It's hard. It's hard to do. To get outside the pocket, he take risks of getting hit every time. If I was Cincinnati, I'm sending my 4 guys and 2 outside guys. I'm going to have 1 linebacker in the middle who's going to play, period. That way we keep him inside the pocket. He can't roll out. If he rolling out, you see he makes plays when he rolls out. But when he's behind the line of scrimmage and inside the pocket, he doesn't make as many plays. He can't see over the line. It's hard for him. If anything, the defensive lineman come up, put their hands up, mirror his right arm, and knock the ball down.
Kenny, your thoughts?
he's effective when he's outside the pocket. That's his game. They knew that when they drafted him. They thought they could change him. A lot of coaches think they can make a player better or change a player. We're seeing that you can't. So if you're going to play Manziel, you need to design some rollouts to the right, to the left before the rush comes, instead of waiting for him to have to scramble and make a play because the defense breaks down. You have to set up your blocking scheme to sucker guys inside so Johnny can roll to the outside with the way you block on the offensive line, because I agree with Pierre. He stays in the pocket. You can't see over the line. He's going to have trouble.
Can you win long-term with a quarterback like that?
No, you cannot. And that's why I said when they drafted him, it was a wasted draft pick. I wanted Derek Carr. Teddy Bridgewater was second on my list. Johnny Manziel, I think, was fourth on my list. Garoppolo was ahead of him. So that goes back to Ray Farmer, Jimmy Haslam, the bum on the street, whoever picked Johnny Manziel.
Call me crazy question.
Crazy
Are you seeing
question.
The difference between a great play caller that we had last year that knew how to fit an offense behind Brian Hoyer,
Kyle Shanahan,
yeah, and a guy in John DeFilippo who's still kind of learning his ways? He's new to the offensive coordinator.
They're all new.
Is that why he hasn't really designed a system that fits for both Manziel and McCown?
Well, you can't, though. I think they're two different quarterbacks. You tell me if I'm wrong. You got two different quarterbacks with two different styles. You gotta, if you're gonna sink your resources into somebody, you better sink your resources into the guy you think's gonna start.
Right. And what's his Josh? Like, that's the reason why Mike Pettin kept saying we need a guy that's gonna stay in the pocket. Josh stays in the pocket. He gets outside the pocket when he needs to. If you're gonna have Johnny Manziel roll out and get outside the pocket all the time, you gotta have routes for Andrew Hawkins and Gabriel where they do pivot routes. They go down, they break that dog on linebacker down, they pivot back out, and the ball's coming right then and there. Everything's short and sweet. You get long routes when stuff breaks down. Make sure the receiver keep running, get downfield, get open. He can get the ball to him, but Johnny just is not big enough to see over the line.
Kenny?
I'm in total agreement with Pierre. And it goes back, we were talking about halftime adjustments, and I think they do a terrible job right now. And I had Jimmy Donovan on my show, the voice of the Browns, and we both agreed. Maybe it's not so much the halftime adjustment. It's just that they don't have the talent, guys. They're not a very talented football team. How many of these guys would start on a team right now that is a playoff contending team, or even a team that isn't a playoff contending team? You go up and down the roster, and I don't know how many of these guys on offense and defense combined would be starters anywhere else but with the Cleveland Browns. So it comes back to, I think, inexperienced coaches. In Filippo, he's a first-year offensive coordinator. O'Neal is a second-year defensive coordinator. Mike Pettin's a second-year head coach. And remember, Pettin was the fourth or fifth choice for this team. So again, you go back, you look at the guys they've hired to run this team. They were all first-time head coaches in the National Football League, from Shermer to Chud to Mike Pettin. So lack of coaching because maybe he's not a good enough coach, and especially lack of talent because of the draft picks and the free agent. I mean, the top two free agent offensive picks by Ray Farmer the last 2 years, Ben Tate and Dwayne Buck. Enough said.
Mangini was the only guy with any experience. Do you agree with that line about guys on this team that couldn't play anywhere else?
I don't agree totally, but I would say this. Detroit has a damn good team, but they got a horrible record right now. Right. They just fired a GM and the president up there. The same with us. Now, if you go and fire these guys, if you don't have the trust of the front office, you're not going to have the trust of the players in the locker room. Who's that? Paul. He's not getting any type of pressure. He got 1.5 sacks right now.
Paul Kruger.
Yeah, because they had him dropping and everything like that. That's not his game.
Right.
You want Mingo to do that. Now, Campbell, number 30, the rookie, he's a tackling machine. I like that guy.
Right.
I like him a lot. He's out there tackling. He's making all types of plays. But if you wanted to trade a team, I'll trade Detroit for Cleveland.
All right, hey, Eric, where are we going to next? Skype 1?
Skype 1, we're going to go across the pond.
Nice.
To Norman Whitlock from the
British
Norman.